The planet Karsus 9 was never meant to hold life. Its surface shifted without warning. Gravity storms crushed metal. The air burned skin and lungs. Mountains splimmed open, then sealed again like nothing happened. Every map was wrong within hours. High Command marked the planet as a loss before the first troops landed. Still, they sent them. Commander Elias Rourke stood inside the Central Command bunker, watching red alerts pulse across a cracked display wall. Each alert marked a failed position. Each one meant more dead. They had been on Karsus 9 for 6 months. 6 months without proper resupply. 6 months without rotation. 6 months of holding ground no one else wanted. The battle group was not special. They were not elite. They were what remained after better units were pulled back to protect safer fronts. Rourke knew this. His soldiers knew it too. Outside the bunker, thunder rolled across the horizon. It was not weather. It was artillery. Lieutenant Mara Klein entered the room, her armor scorched and dented. She removed her helmet and placed it on the table. "Sector 12 is gone," she said. The shield failed during the gravity surge. Rourke did not answer right away. He already saw it on the screen. "Any survivors?" he asked. "A few squads made it out," Klein said. "Most did not." Rourke nodded once. He marked the sector as dead and shifted resources to the next line. He had learned not to pause. Too long. Hesitation killed more people than bad plans. A signal officer looked up from a console. "Commander, incoming transmission. Origin unknown." Unknown usually meant enemy interference or system noise. Rourke almost dismissed it. "Put it through," he said. The screen changed. Static cleared. Text appeared. Deployment confirmation. Single operative inbound. No unit attached. Below it was a name. Aaron Vale. Rourke frowned. "One operative?" he said. "That has to be a mistake." The signal officer checked again. "It is confirmed, sir." Trap pod already launched. Klein let out a sharp breath. "They send one person to a Deathworld that eats divisions," she said. "That is not reinforcement. That is disposal." Rourke felt the same anger, but pushed it down. High Command had made worse calls. "Where's the insertion point?" he asked. The officer hesitated. "Primary impact zone, sir." The room went quiet. The primary zone was where enemy pressure was highest. The ground there collapsed daily. No unit survived longer than a few hours. "They're dropping him straight into hell," Klein said. Before Rourke could answer, the bunker shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Long-range sensors spiked across every channel at once. Readings overlapped. Signals crossed. The system struggled to interpret what it saw. Enemy movement increased, the officer said. "All sectors." "That makes no sense," Rourke said. "They should be regrouping after the last push." The screen shifted again. External feed activated. A bright line cut through the clouds above Karsus 9. A drop pod burned through the sky, its heat trail tearing the air apart. Wind slammed into the surface. Rock and metal flew. The pod did not slow. It hit the ground near the primary zone and vanished in fire. Rourke watched the impact. No one spoke. If the pod survived, the man inside would be alone. No backup. No extraction. No clear mission. Klein broke the silence. "Sir, if he is alive, he will not last." Rourke stared at the screen. Enemy signatures shifted again, moving toward the crash site. He felt something he did not like. "That is what worries me," he said. The sensors continued to spike as if the planet itself was reacting. And for the first time since landing on Elias Rourke wondered if the Deathworld was not the biggest threat anymore. The crash site burned 4 hours. Flames rolled across broken ground where the drop pod had struck. Sensors showed extreme heat and heavy interference. Enemy units moved in fast, forming a wide kill ring around the impact zone. Inside the command bunker, Commander Elias Rourke watched the tactical feed with his jaw tight. "No life signs," the signal officer said. "If anyone survived, we cannot see it." Rourke did not answer. He had seen pods fail before. This one should have been no different. Lieutenant Mara Klein stood near the screen, arms crossed. Her eyes stayed on the shifting red markers that closed in around the crash point. "They will tear the site apart," she said. "Even if the man lived through impact, he will die out there." Rourke nodded once. He gave the order to mark the area as lost. Then the sensors changed. A single hostile marker vanished. The officer leaned forward. "Sir, one enemy unit just went offline." Rourke looked up. "'Cause?" he asked. "Unknown. No friendly fire registered." Another marker disappeared. Then another. Klein stepped closer to the display. "That is not random," she said. Enemy formations shifted. Units pulled back, then advanced again in tighter patterns. It looked like confusion. Rourke felt a chill. "Opened external audio from the site," he said. Static filled the room. Wind howled. Metal scraped against stone. Then a voice cut through. "This is Aaron Vale. I am alive." The room froze. Rourke stepped closer to the console. "Identify yourself," he said. Vale did not answer the question. "Your forward line on Sector 9 will collapse in 3 minutes," Vale said. "Pull the units back now." Rourke checked the display. "Sector 9 is stable," he said. "For now," Vale replied. "The ground fault under your shield tower is about to shift." Klein looked at the data. "Sir, readings confirm movement under the tower." Rourke made the call. "Pull them back," he ordered. Moments later, the ground under Sector 9 split open. The shield tower fell into the fracture. Everything still inside vanished. Silence followed. Vale spoke again. "Enemy units are adjusting to your retreat paths. They expect fear. Do not give it to them." Rourke clenched his fists. "How are you doing this?" he asked. "I am watching," Vale said. "They are not as unpredictable as you think." Klein leaned toward the mic. "Where are you?" she asked. "Moving," Vale said. "Your current perimeter is wrong. You built it for defense. They attack through hesitation." Another wave hit the outer line. Explosions shook the bunker. Alerts filled the screen. Vale gave coordinates and timing. Rourke followed them. The enemy advance broke. For the first time in weeks, human forces pushed back instead of holding. After the attack ended, Rourke cut the channel. "I want him brought in," he said. Klein shook her head. "He will not come," she said. "He is still moving." The channel opened again. "Do not send extraction," Vale said. "They are watching your patterns. I will reach you when it matters." Rourke felt anger rise. "You did not give orders here," he said. Vale paused. "You're right," he said, "but you were already following them." The line went dead. Enemy movement slowed across all sectors. Rourke stared at the silent display. One man had landed alone on a Deathworld and changed the flow of battle in minutes. Klein spoke quietly. "Sir, what if he is not reinforcement?" Rourke did not look away. "Then what is he?" she asked. Rourke answered without hesitation. "A variable," he said, "and variables break wars." Outside, the planet rumbled again. Not from artillery this time, but from something shifting deep below the surface. Whatever Aaron Vale was doing out there, the Deathworld was responding, and Rourke knew the battle was no longer under his control. The command bunker felt smaller after Aaron Vale went silent. Commander Elias Rourke reviewed the last hour of combat data again and again. Every adjustment Vale suggested had worked. Every delay before following those suggestions had cost lives. Lieutenant Mara Klein stood across from him, her arms resting on the table. "We need him," she said. "Like it or not." Rourke looked tired. "We do not even know who he is," he said, "or why he was sent." Klein met his stare. "Does it matter?" she asked. "He is keeping us alive." An alert sounded. Another shield node failed on the outer line. Enemy pressure increased, but did not break through. "They are testing us," Rourke said. Feeling for weakness. "They already found it," Klein replied. "It is us, arguing while he moves." Before Rourke could respond, a priority message cut through all channels. High Command authentication codes flashed across the screen. "This channel is secure," a voice said. "Commander Rourke, you are ordered to cease all cooperation with the unaffiliated operative known as Aaron Vale." Rourke stiffened. "On what grounds?" he asked. "Unauthorized command influence," the voice said. "Pattern disruption beyond acceptable limits. You are to detain the operative if contact is made." Klein took a step forward. "Sir, that is insane," she said. "He just saved 3 sectors." "High Command is not interested in local success," the voice replied. "Follow orders." The channel closed. Rourke remained still. "They want him silenced," Klein said. "They want control," Rourke replied. Another alert sounded, sharper than the rest. "Internal systems breach," the signal officer said. "Data leak detected." Rourke moved fast. "Source," he ordered. The officer typed, "It is coming from inside the command net." Clearance level 4. That narrowed it down to less than 10 people. Enemy artillery hit the upper ridge at the same time the leak appeared. The timing was perfect. Klein swore. "Someone fed them our layout," she said. Rourke felt anger harden into focus. "Lock down all command staff," he said. "No one moves." Before the order finished, the bunker shook. Lights failed for a second. 10 returned. A new transmission cut in without authorization. "I told you this would happen," Vale said. Rourke turned toward the console. "You are tapped into our system," he said. "Only enough to survive," Vale replied. "You have a leak. They're using your own fear to guide their fire." Klein leaned close. "Do you know who it is?" she asked. Vale paused. "Yes," he said. "Say it," Rourke demanded. "If I do," Vale said, "they will trigger the next strike early." Another impact hit nearby. The bunker walls groaned. Rourke made a choice. "Give me a solution," he said. "Open Corridor Delta and evacuate command staff through it," Vale replied. "Leave it unguarded." That corridor led straight through exposed terrain. "That is suicide," Klein said. "For them," Vale replied. "Not for you." Rourke understood. He issued the order. As staff moved, enemy fire shifted instantly. Toward Corridor Delta. The ambush was perfect. Except the corridor was empty. Enemy units poured into the trap zone. Vale triggered the counterstrike. The ground collapsed. Fire consumed the area. Enemy signals vanished by the dozens. When the smoke cleared, the leak stopped. Rourke exhaled slowly. "You used the traitor to bait them," he said. "Yes," Vale replied. "They chose to run." Klein looked at the screen. "Did we get them?" she asked. "No," Vale said. "They escaped. And now they know I see them." The channel cut. Silence filled the bunker. Rourke knew what that meant. The enemy would change tactics. High Command would push harder, and someone inside his force had already chosen a side. The war on Karsus 9 had just become personal. The city of Neo-Alexandria was burning. As Commander Eva Rostova, I watched the evacuation feeds. My heart a cold knot of dread. Enemy orbital strikes hammered our defenses, turning skyscrapers into dust. We were Losine. Then, Lieutenant Kalen's voice crackled through the comms, sharp and urgent. "Commander, Sector Gamma is collapsing. The last transport. The Starhopper is pinned down. I have a plan, but it's unconventional." My screen split, showing a new face, a woman with cybernetic eyes and a ghost of a smile. This was Cipher, a clandestine operative from the shadowy Section 0. "Commander Rostova," Cipher said, her voice a low hum. "Lieutenant Kellen's plan involves me creating a targeted EMP burst. It will disable the enemy drones swarming the spaceport, but it will also knock out the Starhopper's primary systems for 60 critical seconds. 60 seconds, an eternity, under fire. My tactical display flashed red. Thousands of civilian lives were on that transport. The standard protocol was to sacrifice the few to save the many, to cut our losses. But Kellen's voice was unwavering. "I can get him out. Eva, trust me." He used my first name. A breach of protocol he hadn't committed since the Academy Ida was a player. I looked at the faces of the civilians on the transport's internal cameras, terrified, but clinging to hope. My own regulations screamed no, but my gut screamed for Kelly. Do it, I ordered. My voice tight. Cypher, deploy the MP. Kalon, get our people home. The feeds went dark as the pulse hit. For 60 agonizing seconds, there was only static. The command deck was silent, every officer holding their breath. Then, a single, beautiful green light blinked back to life. The Starhopper's signature. Cheers erupted, but they died as Kellen's voice returned, strained with pain. Commander, we're clear, but we have a breach. A saboteur, one of our own. They disabled the aft shields just before the EMP. They escaped on a small shuttle. A new icon appeared on my map, a ghost signal slipping through the enemy blockade, heading for the uncharted territories. The saboteur wasn't just a traitor. They were a herald. The battle for Neo Alexandria was over, but a new, more sinister war was just beginning, and it seemed the enemy wasn't just outside our walls, but within our ranks. Stay with us. Follow for the next chapter. The fight for survival continues. The planet did not calm after the evacuation. Enemy movement increased across every sector. It was no longer probing or testing. It was pressure. Commander Elias Rourke stood in the bunker with only a few officers left money where they'd. Others were wounded or scattered across the surface. Lieutenant Mara Klein sat on a crate, her arm bandaged tight. She refused evacuation. They're shifting focus, she said. They're not trying to take ground anymore. Rourke nodded. They are hunting leadership, he said. A secure channel activated without warning. High command codes filled the screen. This time, the voice was cold. Commander Rourke? You are relieved of duty. You are ordered to surrender control. Immediately. Rourke did not respond. Aaron Vale appeared on the display feed, standing somewhere dark and damaged. That order will kill everyone still alive here, Vale said. You are not recognized as an authority, High Command replied. Your presence is a liability. Vale looked directly into the camera. I was built to be one, he said. Rourke turned. Built? He said. Vale continued. Years ago, human leadership created a program to predict extinction events. Not machines. People. I was one of them. Klein listened in silence. They trained us to assume humans would fail, Vale said. Panic. Pride. Delay. Betrayal. Then we learned how to act before those failures happened. High Command cut in. This conversation is irrelevant. Termination authorization is approved. Warning alerts flared across the bunker. Orbital weapons alignment detected, the signal officer said. They are targeting Karsus 9. Rourke felt the air leave his lungs. They are going to erase us, Klein said. Vale nodded. Yes, he said, because losing soldiers is acceptable. Losing control is not. Enemy forces surged at the same time orbital targeting locked in. The timing was perfect. They want chaos before impact, Rourke said. Vale spoke fast. I can break their coordination, he said, but it will cost sectors you are trying to hold. How many? Rourke asked. Enough to make them hesitate, Vale replied. Rourke closed his eyes, then opened them. Do it, he said. Vale took control of battlefield routing. He redirected power, pulled units back, and let entire zones fall. Soldiers died by in minutes. Klein watched the casualty count rise. This will break them, she said. No, Vale replied. This will trap them. Enemy forces pushed deep into abandoned zones. Then their signals froze. Vale triggered the strike. The ground split across multiple sectors. Fire and pressure crushed everything caught inside. Enemy coordination collapsed. Human forces held what remained, but morale shattered. Units questioned orders. Some refused to move. Others demanded extraction that did not exist. Rourke felt the weight of command press down on him. "We cannot hold like this," he said. Vale looked at him. "You had never meant to hold," he said. "Only to delay." Another alert sounded. "Orbital weapons entering final alignment," the officer said. High Command spoke one last time. "This planet will be cleansed." Vale turned away from the camera. "I planned for this," he said. Rourke stepped closer. "What does that mean?" he asked. "It means I do not need their permission anymore," Vale replied. Systems across the bunker began to behave strangely. Authorization requests looped. Command locks delayed. Kleinfeld Italiano. "What did you do?" she asked. Vale answered calmly. "I taught their systems to doubt themselves." Above Karsus 9, the weapons waited. Below, the Deathworld shook harder than ever, and for the first time, High Command was no longer fully in control. The sky above Karsus 9 burned with artificial light. Orbital weapons moved into position, slow and certain. There would be no warning shot. Commander Elias Rourke gathered what remained of his officers around the central table. The room smelled of smoke and hot metal. "There is no extraction," he said. "That option is gone. No one—" Argit, Lieutenant Mara Klein, stood with her rifle resting against her leg. Her face was pale, but steady. "If the weapons fire, everyone dies," she said. Rourke nodded. "Unless we blind them first." Aaron Vale appeared on the display. Blood ran down one side of his face. He did not wipe it away. "The enemy overextended after the last collapse," Vale said. "Their coordination core is exposed beneath Sector 7. That sector is a graveyard," Klein said. "Nothing survives there." Vale looked at her. "That is why it will work," he said. Rourke understood the plan. "If we break their core," he said, "Orbital Command loses targeting confirmation." "Yes," Vale replied. "But only for a short time." "How short?" Rourke asked. "Minutes," Vale said. "Maybe less." Rourke took a breath. "Then we move now." The final assault began without ceremony. Ground teams advanced into Sector 7 under constant fire. The terrain fought them as hard as the enemy. Gravity shifted. The ground cracked. Units disappeared into fire and dust. Klein led the forward push. She gave short orders and kept moving. Soldiers followed because stopping meant death. Vale coordinated from the field, rerouting squads seconds before collapse zones formed. Even so, losses mounted. Rourke stayed in the bunker, tracking every signal until the screen filled with dead markers. "Hold the line," he said. "Just hold." Klein reached the outer ring of the coordination core. The structure pulsed beneath the surface, surrounded by enemy forces. "They are waiting for us," she said. Vale answered. "They expect fear. Use that." Klein ordered a direct charge. The fight turned brutal. Weapons overheated. Ammo ran dry. Soldiers used whatever they had left. One by one, command leaders fell, holding choke points long enough for others to move. Vale was hit during the push. Shrapnel tore through his side. He staggered, but stayed upright. Rourke saw his signal flicker. "You need to pull back," he said. "No," Vale replied. "If I stop, this ends." Klein reached the core access and planted the charges. "Detonation in 30 seconds, she said. Enemy fire intensified. The ground shook violently. Rourke watched orbital weapons shift alignment. "They're about to fire," the signal officer said. Vale spoke calmly, then finished Italiano. Klein triggered the charges. The coordination core ruptured. A shockwave tore through Sector 7. Enemy signals went dark across the planet. Above Karsus 9, orbital targeting systems stuttered. But the weapons did not disengage. Vale collapsed to one knee. Rourke felt panic rise. "You did your part," Rourke said. "Get out." Vale shook his head. "Not yet," he said. "I still have work to do." The bunker lights dimmed as power drained into emergency systems. Orbital weapons entered firing range. Rourke opened a channel to High Command. "Cease fire!" he shouted. "Targeting is compromised." No response came. Klein's voice cut in, strained. "Sir, we are not going to make it back." Rourke closed his eyes. You already did, he said. Above them, the sky brightened. The countdown to impact had begun. The sky over Karsus 9 turned white. Orbital weapons locked in. Energy gathered above the planet, silent and final. Inside the bunker, Commander Elias Rourke stood alone at the main console. Most screens were dark. Power was failing across all levels. Lieutenant Mara Klein lay against the wall near the entrance. Her armor was cracked. She was alive, barely. Aaron Vale's signal was weak but steady. Targeting systems are active, Rourke said into the channel. We're out of time, Vale answered after a pause. Not yet, he said. Rourke watched command authorization lines loop on the screen. Requests repeated. Denials followed. The system argued with itself. What did you change? Rourke asked. Vale spoke slowly. I added doubt, he said. Human systems assume certainty. Primera, removed Italiano. Above the planet, orbital weapons hesitated. Fire control demanded confirmation that never settled. High Command forced an override. A new channel opened. Descends? Nah, the voice said. Vale stepped into view on the feed. He was leaning against broken metal, blood soaking his uniform. No, Vale said. This is where it stops. You cannot block this forever, High Command replied. I do not need forever, Vale said. Rourke saw what Vale was doing. You tied the weapons to ground verification, he said. Yes, Vale replied. And I am still listed as ground command. Klein pushed herself upright. You are killing yourself, she said. Vale looked toward the camera. That was always part of it, he said. Enemy signals flickered back online for a moment, then vanished again as Vale forced a final cascade through the system. The orbital weapons lost lock. Energy bled off into space. The sky darkened. Silence fell over Karsus 9. Rourke let out a breath he did not know he was holding. Status, he said. The signal officer checked the last functioning panel. Orbital strike aborted, she said. Enemy coordination is gone. Rourke turned back to the feed. Vale, he said. We did it. Hold on. Vale did not answer. His signal wavered, then steadied again for a moment. This world was not the threat, Vale said quietly. We were. Then the signal went dark. Med teams reached his last known position minutes later. They found him where he fell. He was dead. The fighting ended soon after. Without coordination, the enemy forces broke apart. Some fled. Others were hunted down. Karsus 9 remained standing. Days later, evacuation ships finally arrived. Commander Rourke stood on the surface for the last time, looking across the ruined land. The planet was scarred, but alive. Lieutenant Klein stood beside him, her arm in a sling. They lived, she said. Rourke nodded. Until he arrived, he said. Bike in orbit Rourke filed his final report. He listed the losses, the decisions, the disobedience. He classified Aaron Vale as a strategic anomaly, not a weapon. Not a hero, a human who understood what others refused to face. The report ended with a single recommendation: never attempt to recreate him, because the war was not won by strength or numbers. It was won by one human who chose to burn himself so others could live, and that kind of decision could not be controlled again.